Hi everyone, welcome to my podcast slash video. Um, Today I'm going to be talking about different theories to explain why juveniles commit crime, and these theories can range from harsh parenting to peer pressure. And since we don't know what is going on beneath the surface, these theories help us understand more of the reason why people are committing crimes. So, one of the first theories I'm going to talk about is superego, which is Freud's concept of our inner moral compass. Um, so, when people have superego, they feel guilty all the time, even though they haven't done anything wrong. So, sometimes when they commit a crime, they do it more as a self punishment than anything else. Someone with a weak superego means that they don't feel a lot of guilt at all. So they might break the law without even thinking twice about it. And the last superego is a deviant superego, which means that when you're raised around crime and people committing crime, you learn that it's a normal thing to do. So when you eventually decide to break the law, you don't think that you're doing anything wrong. And another theorist I'm going to talk about is Bowlby's and Hershey's theories. I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly, but they're the maternal deprivation and social control theories. Hershey's believed that a strong emotional bond with families can actually help keep kids from getting into trouble. Basically, so if a teen feels close to their parent, they're more likely to care about what their parents expect of them, and that connects with this. That connects them to steer them away from breaking the rules or acting out. So it's like the relationship works as a kind of indirect control, but when the bond is weak or missing, it can open the door to more delinquent behaviors. So when you don't have a close relationship with your mom or your dad, you're more likely to act out than if you are closer to them, if that makes sense. Bowlby had a similar idea, but he focused more on early childhood. So he talked about the critical period, which is between ages 2 and 5 years old, where kids are starting to form a deeper emotional connection. So if a child is separated from their mother during ages 2 to 5 years old, or the child doesn't get enough consistent care during that time, it can seriously affect how the develop emotional and societal bond is. So without the stable guidance, kids can miss out on learning how to emphasize, how to regulate their emotions, and how to build healthy relationships. That kind of early deprivation can lead to a long-lasting issue like trouble with trust, aggression, and even something called affectionless psychopathy, which basically means struggling to feel or show love or remorse. It's important to know that Bowlby's theory has been heavily criticized over time, and a lot of people say that it oversimplifies things and it didn't account for other big influences like poverty, abuse, or mental health struggles. But back then, it really shaped how people thought and about youth and their behavior. And the next theorist I'll talk about is Sheldon and Eleanor Gluck. They came up with a formula to predict which kids are going to be juveniles and get into trouble more often. which their research did have some flaws, like sketchy statistics and over the top conclusions, but they did highlight some important stuff. Um, they looked at how schools, families, friendship, and daily routines affect a kid's path. So, for example, if a kid skips school or doesn't do well academically, they're more likely to get involved in risky behaviors. But if a kid is going to school and doing well in their academic behaviors, it can help build habits that lead to more stability and better choices down the road. So if a kid starts breaking basic rules earlier, like not listening, doing really bad in school, or not liking to go to school, a pattern can carry over into adulthood, which they might not they might ignore other social rules too. And to be honest, those same patterns show up today. So school, family life, and friendship still play a big role in shaping how young people grow and how the choices that they make. But at the end of the day, these theories help us understand that youth crime isn't always just about someone making a bad choice. They're often a deeper story going on. And if we really want to prevent crimes and help kids thrive, we have to look at the whole picture and not just the surface. Thank you all for listening to my TED Talk, not my TED Talk. Thank you all for listening to my podcast and my video.